Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Today we're hopping back on board with Scump as he and the rest of Chicago take on Minnesota. So real quick, as we jump into this one, we are playing on Azhir Cave, so that first hill is right in the middle. I will say just real quick about the gameplay, there are a couple things I want to talk about. With the gameplay, they did get the spawn that you want. So in terms of Chicago, if you're Chicago right now, you want to be holding down that back spawn. You don't want to get flipped. So with that, I'm always interested to see these scrims. So I think there are clearly, now that line's getting a little bit closer here over the last week or so, but I did think that there are clearly three teams that are above everybody else. I think Atlanta, I think Chicago, I think Dallas. I think those are probably the top three. Now, we haven't played Search at all, so there could be a team that just wipes everybody off the map with Search. No pun intended. But there could be a team that's much better with Search. We just don't know yet. But in terms of respawn, I think those three are definitely the best. Now, I think Minnesota is in that next tier. I think that gap, again, is getting a little bit closer, but I do think that they're right there. So whenever Chicago scrims Minnesota or even like New York, yesterday they played New York a little bit. I think New York is pretty close also. So with that, I just kind of wanted to throw that down before we get into this one. The other thing that I'm interested in, by the way, looks like spawns are flipping right here. Seth just got killed trying to go back towards that second, and then he spawned in the middle of the map. So these spawns did flip. So pretty bad play there from Chicago. That's probably the worst thing that you could have happen if you get this spawn to begin the game. But the other thing that I want to talk about is that yesterday Chicago had the worst day that I've ever seen. They got absolutely demolished. They played Florida, they played Atlanta, they played New York, and they just got wiped off the face of the planet all day yesterday. So I'm interested to see how they play today, how they come back, how morale is. So all of that is playing into this. And right now, it doesn't look very good. So it's 14 to 55. They don't have spawns. There's 16 seconds left in the current hill. And at this point in time, you should just be setting up the chokes. So it looks like Arcity is in hill here. Seth, I would like to see go middle here. So see, there's somebody in yellow that's washing right there. And even if somebody comes down there, Seth probably can't get that kill with an SMG. So they kind of had two people now to. So this is the thing. Seth went to look towards that cutoff, and then there was already somebody looking there. And then I don't know what was going on with communication-wise in yellow there, but as Seth turned around, that person also turned around. So I just think that their communication might be a little bit off, and I'm picking all this up by looking at the minimap in the top left-hand corner. But as we rotate into this third hardpoint, you do want to have the back spawn where Seth spawned the last time he came up. So you want to spawn behind where Seth is looking right now. It looks like they do have spawn. Might have gotten a little bit aggressive there. You're running right through smoke into enemy gunfire. So they're still setting up spawns for the next hill. The next hill is in cave. So it's on this side of cave. So right now they're getting slayed out. It's 87 to 27. They're down by 60. But as long as they can hold this spawn, then they should be able to get the vast majority of these points back. But that's all reliant upon being able to hold this spawn. Then what you want to do, so as Seth is pushing up here, you want to get out into the cuts a little bit. So, see, sometimes there's a time to rush and sometimes there's not. Going around that choke point there just probably wasn't the best of ideas. And Seth's kind of getting slayed out here. So it's 99-37. It does look like they're in hills. They don't really have many cuts locked down, so somebody could go the small entry over to the right. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about right there where Seth got killed from. So none of that was locked down. It looks like they're rotating already. So yeah, they had spawns. They got slayed out of hill, and now with 20 seconds left, they still had the spawn that you want for that cave. But it's, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it probably is a good idea to give it up. But for this next one, if you're going to leave that early, you have to lock down these spawns. And it looks like two just went down. Formal and Envoy just went down trying to rotate back to this fourth hard point. So good kills by Seth. What he's trying to do is push out this back corner. But it did look like they were spawning there. So Chicago spawning mid-map, Minnesota spawning in the back. And again, they've only really had spawns for one of the hard points so far, and this one they don't have again. So they're just giving up. They're just giving up spawns when they're giving it up, and they can't overtake ones that the enemy team has. It's just not very good so far. Now, the problem is that this is like there's 30 seconds left, and this is about to be the third hill in a row, the fourth hill, where they've given up the last 30 seconds trying to set up for the 60 seconds of the next one, and they're just not able to lock down spawns. So with that, again, remember I talked about yesterday, their communication, their team morale, their composure was all pretty bad. So as this rotates back to the middle, I'm going to turn up the volume here. I want to listen to their team scrims. I just kind of want to hear what they're talking about. I'll still chime in every once in a while, but let's go ahead. Let's listen to what they're talking about and try to get a sense of team morale and what their composure is like at the moment.
Got one. I got stuck.
2K hurt. Damn it, dude.
I naded in yellow. He's going to be
For yellow dead, for yellow dead.
Top stone, he's going top broken.
I'm pitching stone.
I'm trying to stay down the hill.
I'm breaking up, peeking.
2K cut.
Naded me out of hill. Do we have any?
Got me
20
weak,
has some
going
play to
yellow,
sneak through.
going yellow,
I'm going
weak.
left.
I'm looking stone.
Top stone, and bottom yellow.
So just real quick, they're not really getting time in the hill, and as this rotates back to the second one, they don't have spawns for the second one either. There is a blue arrow back there. I can't really tell who it is. Seth just got a big double there, so it looks like this might be changing a little bit. They're down 155 to 75, but it does look like they've been able to push through that back spawn so that they have spawns for the next one. Pretty good kills there. Let's go ahead and listen in again.
They spawn fit.
One more weak half wall.
Top cave and half wall.
We're on the back, guys.
Got two. Another one, top cave.
Good one in the back.
Yeah, Seth keeps coming back over and over again, spawning right in the middle of the map. Not good.
Got
I'm
me
helping you in the back, Matt.
Under the car. Under
the back truck.
You're right, dead.
One.
More in the back of me.
The guy in the back. The one's
Two. They're all in the back.
Yeah, they got no chance of flipping this. Again, they're going to have to forfeit this 30 seconds or so to try to give up, to try to set up for the next one.
One's back left.
I don't see Asim.
Now, I'm going to turn this down for a second. What Seth was doing there is Asim is trying to flood out of that current hill and go to the opposite side of the cave so that they can set up spawns for the next hill. Again, as it goes to 3, spawns don't matter too much, but you do want to be coming from the opposite side for the 4th hill. So what you saw Seth doing right there is he was trying to cut off that mid-cut so that people can't get behind him, and he ended up falling again. So looks like they've recovered a little bit, but it's definitely not going the way you want it to go at the moment.
Could have already got through.
I don't see. Yeah, try to get this so I can grab down. One's underpass.
No, you hold.
Underpass right now. Dude, underpass assault. I got him. I got
right
one.
for you,
Cross.
Outside garage weak. Asim. He's in garage weak.
I mean, Seth's just losing gun battles there that he probably shouldn't be losing.
I'm pitching mid.
Nothing front.
In the garage.
Got me. Ego challenge.
Got one.
Right dead.
Good job.
Bottom broken dead.
Top yellow.
Push up.
See, I don't like that play there from Seth either. Why are you? If I was a coach of Chicago, why is he trying to pinch? What's the point? You either go and support in the hill or you drop back and you try to get cuts for as it rotates to 4. There's not a point for him to rush down mid and then pinch behind. If they have control of the hill, I mean, I could see if the enemy had control of the hill and you were trying to come from behind them, but Chicago had control of the hill. So that was just kind of, I don't know, it's just a wasted 20 seconds or so where Seth could have either been providing support inside the hill or he could have been in the next hill, pushed up into cuts so that Minnesota couldn't get into it. Back to a listening.
Yeah, I needed. There's 2 left.
Right now. Go on.
What's your short?
Assault got me mid yellow. Assault, last 2 are one's old and one's
Push up
yellow.
Push up
Yep, I'm coming. I got good time.
Two more. 2 more short. They're going around B dom side. I have pinch.
Yeah, I'm just
Pinching Alex, absolute, dude.
my name.
Right.
Other one top.
Oh, this game.
Short, gunner X.
Sometimes.
Something I just noticed real quick, too, is that communication isn't great. So Seth died there, and he said one pinch, but he didn't say exactly where he was. He didn't say he was jumping in a tunnel right now. He didn't say, you'll see him in 1 second. He just jumped in the tunnel or whatever. He just kind of said, pinch, he's one shot. Well, that doesn't do anything. That doesn't help anybody. You have to say somebody's coming. There was somebody watching it, but by the time, since there was no communication, he stopped watching it to turn back, and as he turned back, he ended up dying. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of little things. Seth isn't killing at the moment. We'll probably see these kills just in a second or so, but communication's not great. Seth's not killing. Seth went 26 and 30. He was best on the team, man. So Gunless 16 and 24, Envoy 16 and 19. I don't know. At the moment, it just seems to be a little bit off. So I don't necessarily know at the moment what the answer is. I think team morale and team composure is down at the moment. I think as soon as they start to get the taste of, 3 or 4 wins in a row, they'll probably be okay. But it's interesting to watch these team scrims for the next day or so just to see what happens and how they react to it. So if you're new around here, this is the first time you've watched my coverage, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I can't wait for Minnesota land 2 weeks. I'm going to be putting out probably 15, 20 videos that weekend. So I'll have all the coverage right here, breaking down who wins, who loses, why that happened, and so on and so forth. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. Don't forget to leave a like before you head on your way. And with that, I will catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys. We'll see you.